Okay, this is what I think of the Occupy movement and how everything's going at the moment of time and maybe before. Before, the Occupy movement was of a few people. Then it grew a little bit more, and people started getting worried. And it wasn't us that were getting worried. It was the police, it was the government, it was the corporations. Just a little bit worried because it began growing just a little bit. Eventually, some cops came in and they said, okay, everybody, you have to settle down in this one little space and occupy here. Fine. They're not taking away our rights, our freedom. Okay, next time more and more people start occupying that little space. Except, it's not as little as the smaller space that they pack us up in. Okay, now we start getting a little angry. But, we remain peaceful. Eventually, it gets to the point where the media starts paying attention to us. That's when things start getting a little iffy. The cops start attacking us, and they start evicting us from certain areas, and saying that we have to get a permit in order to protest. That is taking away our rights. You see, there's something really majorly wrong in American society where you can't even speak or protest against something unless you have a permit. That's wrong. And it's even more wrong when police use excessive force on the protesters that are peacefully demonstrating their arguments and their grievances against not only the government, but the big corporations that are puppeteering the government in the first place. So they began shooting us with beanbags at first. That hurts. Ouch. People say, get away from us. Shame, shame, shame. Rubber bullets come next. Somebody gets hurt real badly. I forgot his name. Does it really matter? This person, this nameless person, by the 1% and the cops, trying to protect themselves and the system, they totally ignore this person. But to the 99% like us, he means something. He is a symbol. He is a symbol of our struggle to get past this corrupt system. This is not right. This is madness. We should be getting angry, yet we're not getting angry enough. We are saying shame, shame, shame when this thing is happening. Once that rubber bullet or even that beanbag started first firing from the guns of those police officers, we shouldn't have been yelling shame, shame, shame. We should have been attacking them. But we don't. Because we think if we do, we're going to lose everything. Well, look at where it got us. All across the nation, people are starting to berate us for being against the system, for not doing the right thing, and waiting until the next election to announce another douchebag that's going to finally bring this country down to its knees. So when we look back at President Bush, we say, hey Bush, remember the good old times we used to have when you got us in a 10-year-old war? We wish you were here, because all of the douchebags that we have in office now, they're 10 times as worse as you. And yes, that does include you, Barack Obama. And yes, of course, that includes the entirety of the Republican nominations, maybe not including Ron Paul, which of course he has his own faults as well. Eventually, I came across this video online just today, and it's about little kids going up with their parents and they're joining the movement. Little bit not sure about the kids joining the movement, but it was about bullying and stuff, so they incorporated it somehow into the movement because really the 1% are a bunch of bullies to us. They bully us around and they're the bourgeoisie. This is not a communist movement. I am not saying it is a communist movement by using that term bourgeoisie. I am just saying the complete truth of what the 1% would be called if this were the October Revolution of 1912. So these little kids, 5 to maybe 10 years old, making these little hearts about bullying and against bullying. Hearts, the symbol of love, the symbol of peace, the symbol of prosperity and kindness towards one another. And they put these hearts, they just tape them on the fence. Nothing bad. They have little colorful pictures on them. They have sayings on them. And they have cute little scribbles of paint all over them from the younger kids. A cop walks by. He looks at it like it's nothing. He looks at the children. He looks back at it. And he starts ripping it up. He yanks it off of the fucking fence. He mangles it in his hands. And he rips it up to little pieces, angrily, one by one, and then in handfuls, and then more and more and more. And another police officer comes by and does the exact same thing. While we sit back, or we stand back and say, shame, shame, shame. The camera zooms into a few of those little kids that made those hearts against bullying, and they see the cruel reality of the world. These bullies that we have to worry about in school, that we had to worry about when we were in middle school, elementary school, and maybe even high school, they're the same bullies as the 1%. Seeing the stark reality of the world, maybe not comprehending every bit of it, they cry. They're in tears. And the parents are yelling shame. There was a famous quote by the guy who made 1984. I believe his name was George Orwell. And it goes a little bit like this. I'm paraphrasing. If you want to see the future of humankind, imagine a rubber boot stamping on the face of humanity minute by minute forever. We do not need to yell shame. They already know they are shameful, and they don't give a fuck. If they're going to go and rip up and mangle some hearts made by someone that was 4 or 5 years old, in no way on God's little green earth, even though I'm an atheist, that they are going to care. It is time to stand up and do something about it. These people have no souls.